Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica, and in this video I'm going to be making a page in my journal for Beltane, for Calme as we call it here in Wales. And I've got a tarot spread that I'm going to use as well, which is created by Michelle at The Weaver's Way. I will link her channel, and this is a spread that she's created for the community. We're having a community gathering on Sunday, tomorrow, which is going to be just so lovely. I'll leave the details for that down below as well in case you're interested. It's completely free. Oh my gosh, I got a little spider trying to crawl, trying to join in the spread. So I haven't kind of pre-planned what I'm going to do, but yeah, I think I'm just going to wing it. We're going to just go for it and see how it turns out. Because I think sometimes when we like kind of put too much pressure on it, you know, like to kind of have it all perfect, it actually loses some of the magic. So I'm just gonna write Beltane through the middle, and I'm gonna have to write, where's my black? My desk is already a mess before I've even started this. I'm gonna write Calme, which is like the Welsh for this celebration. Mai is May, for the month of May. Okay, so that's the kind of like anchor. I think I'm gonna put, because I've been using like pinks and stuff in my spreads for May, so I think I'm going to carry on with those kind of pinks, but I want to add a little bit of my own, like I think I might do some drawings and things with this as well. I've got some of these washies. Where's that like flowery washi? And yeah, I should have said, like, if you'd like to, oh, those flowers are gonna be handy. If you'd like to journal along with me with this, I'm going to be sharing all of the prompts for the tarot, or you can use Oracle as well. The Weaver has created it in such a way that you can use it for Oracle or for tarot, so you know, you're welcome to use either of those things. Okay, so the washi that I'm looking for doesn't seem to be anywhere to be seen, so I think I'm actually going to kind of create my own little border. I'm going to go across here with just this very like plain one at the bottom, and I think I'm going to do the same at the top actually as well. Okay, nice. And add a little bit of this pink, or yeah, I'm going to use this. Oh no, I'm not, because that is the end. That is the end of that pink. Okay, so do you know what I'm actually going to do? I think I'm going to draw in just some like kind of little vines along the sides here, because like I know in like, you know, Beltane's, well, all of the spokes of the wheel are fire festivals, but I actually find like this time of the year much more kind of like pinks and greens just make more sense to me, I suppose, for this time of the year. So I'm going to stick with that as my like theme of what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to put some like little petals. I'll make these into like flowers properly when I'm trying to like talk and draw at the same time. I should probably like send you off on a little music and a voiceover or something at this point now, but I'm just trying, like, I've been trying hard to get more consistent with posting videos on here, and I think part of that is like not putting too much pressure on myself to make like, you know, like quote unquote perfect videos, because obviously there's no such thing as a perfect video. Do I want to do pink flowers on that side? I might, yeah, I think I'm just going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to add some of these like pink, I'm not even sure what sort of flowers they are, but they're kind of having these like separated little petals. I'll make them into kind of like abstracty, I suppose, like abstracty flowers. But yeah, I'm uploading every week now. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. it will be a new video from me, and some of them will be a little bit more polished, and some of them are going to be lives. So they will not be polished. And then some of them will be like this, which will kind of be a little bit in between, I guess. I'm sort of finding my way. And so if like, yeah, you know, I'm going to be mainly doing like journaling stuff, but also goddess related stuff. If you've been here before, you know that that's kind of what I do. But I also want to bring in, like, I haven't done a lot of tarot content for a while now, and like tarot is still a really big part of my practice. So, you know, I do still want to be bringing some of that here as well, but like not so much, I don't know, I suppose I'm just finding what it is I want to do and what I create, because I was making weekly videos a few years ago, and I think like once I started my membership and stuff like that, I was doing more, you know, kind of like member content, and so it kind of took a little bit of the my time, really took more of my time, and so I didn't have as much time to be making content for YouTube. But I do definitely, like I say, want to get back into doing more regular videos. So I'm just kind of like giving these leaves and petals a little bit more shape, just going around them loosely with this pen, just to give it a kind of a little bit more structure. But yeah, if you're going to journal this with me, then you can decorate yours however makes sense to you. It's also kind of tricky doing it without sticking my head right in the way of the camera as well, but I'll try not to do that. Yeah, so it's actually like, it's, for me, I definitely feel like I know people celebrate Beltane on different days, you know, like some people say it's May the 1st, and then some people will celebrate on like well, Taurus new moon. And definitely this year I felt like when we got to the Taurus new moon, it already, like the hawthorn was already blooming here in Wales. It feels very much that we're into that Beltane season already. So I think I might add a little bit here actually as well. So for me it definitely is a season. It is not something that is like done and dusted in one day or anything like that. For me, the spokes of the wheel are very much like the start, the opening to that next part of this, to that next season. And so, you know, there is much more. I want to kind of lightly go on that bit as well. It's not just a day, is basically what I'm saying. So like this spread is going to be a good guide for me for the whole season. Look, so that's kind of like my decoration. I do kind of want to add a little bit more than that. I have got this washi, but that wasn't really the one I wanted. I have got like a more, let me see if I can find it. Yay, so I found it. Let's put some of this on as well, I think. Just layer up there. I don't know if I do want to have it on the top as well. I think I'm gonna use, I found this one that's kind of in the sort of pinky colour palette. I think I'm gonna put that through the middle actually, on the top one there, just to give it a little bit of there. Yes. Do you know, I think I might add a little bit of that on the bottom as well. Layer up 3, because this one's so thin. I don't think it will detract from this. I'll put it in the join of those two, I think. There, that's beautiful. Okay, so that is my structure. Here is the tarot spread that I want to use. Like I said, this is created by Abriana Moonflower, as she is on YouTube, or The Weaver's Way, as she is now. So I'll link her channel down below. She is our lovely weaver in the Jessica and the Moon community space. If you're on the Discord or in the community, you'll know Michelle already. So there's 5 cards in this spread, and it's very much based on the idea of we're in a hermit year this year. You know, we're working with the hermit as our number for the year, because it's a number 9 year. So we've got that energy of kind of like going inwards. And there's this natural kind of like friction between that and Beltane. You know, like when I think of the hermit and winter, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It all fits in together. But then when it comes to Beltane, that idea of the hermit and like kind of being more withdrawn, and then bringing it out to Beltane, which is more typically summed up with the Lovers card in tarot. You know, so we've got that 6 of the Lovers and the 9 of the Hermit. There's a friction there. And so this Beltane tarot spread has got 5 questions. Well, 3 technically, I suppose, because one of them is the Hermit card and one of them is the Lovers card, but I'm actually going to pull cards for those positions as well. I don't know if Michelle intended that or not when she designed the spread, but that is how I'm going to do it. So the first question is, what wisdom have I gained from my Hermit year so far? You know, as we are kind of getting quite far on into the year now. And then the second card is the Hermit. So, you know, you could just keep that as the Hermit card. I'm actually going to pull a card for that to kind of see what the Hermit looks like for me now. You know, that's how I'm going to take that card. And then the third one is, how can I integrate this knowledge into who I am becoming on this journey? So it's like bringing that forward. And then the Lovers card is the next card. So I'm going to take a card for that as well, to sort of see how the Lovers and myself are kind of linking together. And then the last card is, what love or care does who... Hang on. What love or care does who I have been need as these parts of me unite at Beltane? You know, because the Lovers card is often very much about bringing things together, or making a choice sometimes as well, you know. So sometimes it's choosing between different things, and that is something that's been coming up for me a lot personally as well. So I'm going to use the Spirit Song by Paulina Cassidy to answer that, and mainly because it is just beautiful colours and very, like, feels very like this time of year colour wise to me. I'm not going to take the Hermit and the Lovers out of here, because sometimes I find when you have spreads like this and you have actual like majors in there, then they sometimes pop out in the places which seems like it could never happen. And when you think it's like a 1 in 78 chance that is going to happen, and yet it does. So I want to leave them in just in case they do pop out, but I did also kind of want to look at them first. Or maybe I'll pull them out after if they don't come out. So I'm going to give those a shuffle, and the rest of this page then, like, if you wanted, like, if you don't want to do the spread, you could write, you know, I know people like to write some of the lore about Beltane, or like a kind of recipe and stuff like that, and I've shared some things like that over on my blog as well. You know, there's so much out there on, like, this is what you're supposed to do for Beltane, and I don't make any of that kind of content on my channel because, like, well, for one reason, because there is so much of it out there, but for a deeper reason, it is because I don't think that that's actually that helpful for people in their practices, because, you know, Beltane or Calme is very specifically well, it's a neo-pagan festival now, but, you know, it is a point in the year which is tied into, like, the Northern Hemisphere and really to Britain, where I am. So a lot of the customs do make sense to me. You know, they are kind of from my culture in a lot of ways, although it's kind of like a mishmash. The pagan wheel of the year is a kind of mishmash of a lot of, like, English, Welsh and Gaelic, Scottish, you know, basically all of the British Isles and Ireland just melded into one. And then also some stuff like, you know, like Ostara, bringing in some more Germanic influences as well. So I really feel like it makes more sense when our practice is rooted in our place, in the place where we are, in the place where we live. And so, you know, for me now, I am checking in with this, and it makes sense. But for you, like, if you're in Australia or like Florida or something like that, you know, it doesn't always make sense. So you could still very much pull these cards, because these cards are not necessarily about, like, you celebrate by doing this, you know, dance around a maypole, or, you know, it's not that. It's a much deeper, and, like, that's why I love Michelle's spreads so much, because they are always so much deeper, you know. Yeah, she creates the spreads in the Moonwise membership, the tarot spreads that we have for every moon phase, and they do go really deep. So I'm excited to see what comes out with this. Okay. So I've been shuffling while rabbiting on, and I want to wait until it feels like I haven't used this deck for a while, so it's kind of, we're warming back up to each other. We're getting reacquainted. Do you find that happens when you haven't used a deck for a while? I really Or is that just a me thing? I find like if I haven't used it, it feels almost like it goes a bit quiet. But I find then when I give it a really good shuffle, or sometimes, you know, you can re-put it in order. I don't do that all that often, to be honest. I do tend to just kind of take out a deck and shuffle and then go for it. But yeah, I do find that it needs more shuffling to connect when I haven't used it for a while. So apologies. And my terrible shuffling as well, as things are leaping out all over the place. Okay, so I think it feels like we're there. Okay, so I think I will take all 5 cards straight up. So what wisdom have I gained from my hermit year so far? And I got 10 of feathers, 10 of air, which is, you know, 10 of swords, which is not the easiest card, probably the hardest card actually. I suppose potentially, with the exception of the tower, maybe in the deck, that 10 of swords. And it's a card that actually has been coming out quite a bit for me lately, and is very connected with my my astrology as well. So yeah, the 10 of feathers, recovery, transformation, it gives us the keywords. I mean, this deck is a really beautiful deck. It's not a fluffy deck, but it has got a positive vibe to it, you know. It has got a feeling of like, when shitty stuff happens, we don't have to kind of stay there. We can move through it and move on towards something else. So it doesn't kind of like gloss over that, but it does. I mean, like, you know, look at that dragonfly on the front, you know, that is where we are. So recovery, transformation. We've got this beautiful snake kind of like coiled around here with these feathers poking out here. So, you know, what wisdom have I gained? To be honest, like what I've been working on this year, I have been working on limiting beliefs a lot. That's something that I decided when I was doing my vision for the year, right, you know, like at the end of 2024, I was thinking about what it is that I want to do. And I'm like, I'm ready now to start dealing with some really painful things, you know, like I'm coming up to 47 years old. So I've got a fair few years of experience of like things happening. And as tends to happen in our lives, you know, stuff happens that is not ideal, you know, in lots of cases. So yes, there's been I've been doing a lot of therapy. I've also been, you know, I've been caring for myself a lot better as well. So I do feel like I'm healing from a lot of the stuff, you know, and the keywords here are recovery and transformation. And it's like, what have I specifically gained from like that hermity part of the year as well? You know, it's like being able to kind of go inwards and do some of that work and kind of prioritizing myself instead. Like I do have children, but they are getting to that stage now where they are much older and more independent. And so I've just had the time and the space and to be honest, like the energy as well to be able to deal with some of this stuff. And a lot of things have been coming up and a lot of things have been coming up to be healed. So this is a process I feel like I started last year really, but like my personal card of the year is always like a bit of ahead because I'm always like adding 1 to whatever the card of the year is. So sorry if this doesn't make any sense, but it makes perfect sense to me. But from my birthday in June last year, I was already working with the hermit card, so I felt like I was already started that path then, and I've been kind of carrying it forward as we've gone into this year as well. So yeah, is all that to say, I suppose, is it hasn't been easy, but I am feeling like, look how the snake's head is like kind of like pointing up and out, and it almost looks like a moon at the background here as well. You know, it's like I am tentatively starting to come out from that now, making a recovery. And there is, yes, transformation, a skin shedding, you know, with that. Several skin sheddings, to be honest. That's what it feels like. It's been like a process of shedding and shedding and shedding. So there's that. And then the hermit. So you could pull just like, you could take the hermit card out of your deck with that if you wanted to and kind of like see them as they go along with that. But I'm going to take the next card, which is the one that like jumped out and didn't want to go back into the deck when I was shuffling. So that's interesting. So instead of the hermit in that the archetype that I'm working with most in this hermit year is this the card 20. So it's normally judgment, but here it is awakening, and that's very much feels like that. And it's got like renewal, enlightenment, and see how you can see how like those cards really very much do go together. And I feel like the fact that this is a major coming out here as well, is it shows this is a huge turning point for me as well. You know, this is something that has been, you know, in terms of like my sense of self, my self-worth, also like understanding of myself, neurodivergence that I was undiagnosed for many years, you know, and all of that stuff has kind of been coming together. I've been integrating that and figuring it out, you know, over the last, I suppose, like 10 years, but it really does feel like it's accelerated in the last year since my birthday. And like as we're going into this year now in 2025 as well, it's like, you know, when we get that judgment card, it's always like a kind of wake up call. And that's what it has felt like, this like very much wake up call. Look at the energy of like these heads in front of the light as well, like very much echoing each other in those cards as well. It's, yeah, that's really interesting how those two are coming together. I will definitely do some more journaling around that as well. It does feel like enlightenment, and it does feel like a really big deal, you know, it does. And then how can I integrate this knowledge into who I'm becoming? So it's like, how can I integrate this stuff? Okay, and then we've got Queen of Acorns. Interesting. So not Queen of Pentacles, which I tend to pull more often than this Queen of Wands, you know, Queen of Fire. But here we've got passion, we've got creativity, we've got this gorgeous like deer, and that idea of like, yeah, fiery creativity, direction as well. Like look how the earth is like kind of bending underneath this card, you know. It's like the creative power helps everything to kind of like spring up and bloom. Like it's a very Beltane card, isn't it, to come out? So the way that I integrate it, I think, is in being much more, well, sovereignty is another word that I've been working with over a few years now, but it's stepping into the light a bit more, you know. Like sometimes with the Hermit, like I said at the beginning, you know, it's like we've got that tendency to want to like pull inside, to pull away, which is good, you know, we need to do that, but we don't stay there. We need to also like reintegrate, come out into the light again now. So I feel like what it's calling for me to do, the way of like integrating all of this stuff, is to create more, is to make more, is to share more of myself with the world, which is what I'm trying to do here on my channel, even though it feels really vulnerable to do these kind of like self readings on YouTube. But it is something that I know, and like the cards are now confirming for me that this is good for me, you know. And I like safe spaces are really important to me, and like it's very much part of my purpose here to create safe spaces. And at the same time as that, I want to be able to model like bravery as well, and like being open about the fact that like growth is not like linear or pretty. You know, that we do have struggles, and we, you know, that it's not all that, and those things do feed into then my creativity and what it is I want to make and do and share with the world. So yeah, I feel like there's a much more outward going, and it's funny because like all of these cards so far have all been facing this way, so it'll be interesting if the others like face that way, or the whole spread is like very much future looking. So let's see. So the next card is the Lovers. So what is the Lovers for me at the moment? Oh, look at that. So yeah, we're continuing our theme of like all going this way. But we've got the Knight of Acorns here, and that's kind of like lovely coming in with the Queen as well. Like part of the stuff that I've been finding, like that I've been working on over the last couple of years, has been to do with like my intimate relationship with my marriage. So I feel like this is almost like a direct representation. You know, sometimes how the court cards do that, you know, they're like do they are like, they represent a person in our lives. And I'm wondering, like, not that my husband is like a warthog or wherever this some sort of hog creature that this is, but he is a very creative person, he is a very driven person, and he does like help me, like inspire me in lots of ways to be more out there myself, you know, to be able to kind of like do those kind of things. I'm not loving how it's kind of like walking away, and that it is a very like solo card, but that's something for me to look into a little bit more. But we have got that kind of fire of the acorns again, you know, coming in there. Let's have a look at, and I think actually the acorns is like one of the reasons why I pulled this deck is probably because I needed to see all these acorns, like the oak tree, and we've got an oak tree in our garden, and it's like kind of our home is very much like my house name and our street name have got the word derwen in them in Welsh, which literally means oak, you know. So I feel like this is like kind of home, a rooted in home, but creativity from home kind of vibes to it as well, which is interesting. So yeah, let's have a look at that. What is the last one? What love or care does who I have been need as these parts of me unite? So it's like who I have been and who I am now, or who I'm stepping into being. How do those parts kind of come together as the lovers in? So yeah, we're working backwards, and this was not in order, this deck. You can see, you know, it's not it's not in order. So the fact that these have come out like kind of stepping backwards like this is really interesting. It's sort of, it's like almost like there's like a spiraling in happening, which I guess also kind of connects up to that Hermit card as well. And look at this. This is interesting because all of these animals here, look, are looking this way. And then here on the how I do this, and the keywords of responsibility and dedication, which, you know, again, we've got these two tens like bookending this stuff. So maybe like 10 of wands is also not an easy card, but having like more responsibility, especially for like my own finances, and like being, a lot of the stuff I've been doing has been like healing inner child stuff, and like through that I've realized that a lot of the things that I do, and or like the things that I find hard, are because I still feel like I've got these like child parts that are kind of trapped in certain stages of my development. And I feel like I'm not like the other people will know better than me, you know, other people will know better than me how to do that. And so I'm afraid of like making mistakes and things like that in certain contexts. And especially with like kind of like adulty stuff, like kind of like finances and home, and I suppose not so much home, like things I can do for myself are fine. But like if I needed to get somebody in to fix something in my home, then I usually try and get my husband to deal with that rather than me dealing with that. Like I'll give the instructions of what I want done, but I don't want to like be having that conversation about like what it is with the person who's coming to do. Like in very, like they're nearly always men, and yeah, you know, it's just like, that's one of the things I'm kind of working on anyway. But yeah, I have realized that I am not in my adult self, fully in my adult self for a lot of the time. So like in my work, and like this might seem weird to you, because like if you watch my videos, or, you know, like if you know me from being like in our Discord or in the community, like I am fully in my responsibility in my work, you know, in what it is that I do here, and what it is that I do in spiritual space, in connected space. It's like that has been a constant in my life, that I've always known how to do that, and have felt very much capable in those areas. It's more like in the like the kind of like life the other things in life, the more, you know, the more like mundane, I suppose. Yeah, in the magical stuff I felt like I know what I'm doing. In the mundane stuff, not so much, you know. And yes, maybe that is partly like autism, or like undiagnosed autism more likely, which has been diagnosed now. So like I feel like I can own that and kind of work forwards from that. But I've been really doing better at stepping into my adult self in other arenas of my life as well, you know. So it's like I can take responsibility for this, I can make a phone call if I need to, you know, things that a lot of people find easy and kind of think it's weird if I can't, you know, that I can't do those things. But I've kind of like got a dual thing for it. It's like it is hard for me. It's hard for me to do those things, and it probably is harder for me than it is for like a neurotypical person. But it also, I am getting better, and the way that I'm getting better is through healing those child parts and kind of like giving myself more grace. Really, it's like the people around me, the adults I see around me, also a lot of the time don't have a big clue what they're doing as well, you know. So like, well, you know, how are you doing? Do you always feel like you know what you're doing in all these different aspects of life? I sort of felt like everybody else did and I didn't, and that's what made me feel like incapable. But I'm realizing more and more that, you know, we're all kind of in the same boat with this thing, you know. So responsibility, dedication. What I was going to say about the direction is that the way that the head of this horse is like kind of curved around, or maybe a donkey, it's got a kind of shortish nose, so it's curved this way, but it is actually like facing back. So it's almost like kind of like I was looking back, but now it's time to kind of turn and look forward as well, which is really interesting. And this the animal here has got this like light behind its head, like these two did as well here, was these two, which I think are maybe me and my husband, didn't have that, you know. I suppose I have got the light behind my whole body there, but he's got his like up here in the top corner. So that's interesting. I feel like there's so many layers to this reading that we could go. I think let's just have a little look what it says in the book for this 10 of acorns in responsibility and dedication. I do like, you know, I read tarot for a living. I do readings for other people, but I do still like to look in the book, especially when it's a good book, which I find Paulina Cassidy's decks usually are. They don't always have lots in there, but you know, what is in there is useful. When I'm reading for myself, I find that can be helpful, because otherwise I can very much go down like one road, and then when I look in the book I'm like, oh yeah, no, there is that other thing as well, which I was like pushing aside a little bit. So I find it helpful to go back in and see that basically. So let's have a look. Oh, that's interesting. The King of Acorns is a horse. Interesting. And the keywords there would have been optimism and innovation. So I wonder why I didn't get the king. Why am I getting that 10? Yeah, and obviously we did skip the page, but you will see what I'm saying about those cards coming out like in reverse order. So it is a donkey. It's not a horse, it's a donkey. Trustful donkey carries the willingness to take on responsibilities. He personifies determination and bears a deep spiritual dedication to complete tasks. Yet donkey also knows his boundaries. So this is the bit that I was missing, maybe, that is going to be important for me, is that idea of boundaries as well. He's here to remind you that when obligating yourself to personal endeavours and the demands of others, consider whether you're taking on more than you can handle, which is, you know, that kind of traditional 10 of Wands read. When burdened by too many activities at once, perception and creativity can be blocked. And I know I can't do that, because that is what I'm supposed to be doing, is to be able to create, you know. That is how I'm like alchemizing this work in this hermit year. Energies can be weighed down by overcommitment. Dig yourself out of the drudge by setting limitations. I feel like I am doing this. This is something that I'm getting better at. It's still really hard. Break away from situations that are detrimental to your health and dedicate time for personal restoration. So it's almost like drawing back into that hermit as well. In clearing away the clutter, you're inviting deeper clarity and joy into your life, in turn bringing back your personal power. Interesting, because personal power is another thing that I've been working on in this year as well, with those like hidden enemies, that kind of like 12th house, limiting beliefs and things like I was talking about. So keywords: responsibility, overload, dedication, skills, extreme effort, demands, duty. It's got a reverse message, but it wasn't reversed. So interesting. That is really interesting. So I'm really actually happy with that read. Like, it would have been nice if it'd been like the sun or something at the end. Let's find, just for funsies, let's find the Hermit and the Lovers in this deck and just have a look at what they are, in case they relate in with some of these things that we have got here. And yeah, if you do this spread, let me know, and let the Weaver's Way, who created this lovely spread, know as well. I mean, we're spoiled for spreads for like parts of the year and stuff like that now, but I really do love Michelle's. Oh, what did I do with that card? I was going to show you a card that I've put that somewhere else now. I've pulled that 10 of Pentacles for the... Was it for May or was it for the Taurus new moon? Because they're very sort of closely intertwined at the moment, the new moons and the months. So that would have been the page. Look, monkey. But no, it wasn't monkey. That wasn't the right thing to come out. So that kind of idea of responsibility is something, like I said, that, okay, there's the Hermit. It's a koala. That's so gorgeous. Okay, so that's supposed to be there. Not finding the lovers. Oh, there we are. Love. Which is wolves in this deck. Choice and trust. Interesting. Yeah. So I wonder as well, like I do quite like the keywords on here. So I wonder if that's also given me a hint into things in terms of like making choices, like being more driven in my choices. Like I tend to do, like I'm very good at doing like kind of like attraction magic and that kind of stuff, like letting things come to me, like very much in the divine feminine way of doing things. And I don't do a lot of like more active in terms of like magic or mundane stuff, you know. So I think perhaps this coming out here as well is also to do with that. But yeah, look, there's sort of similar stances in these animals, you know. It does look a very like active, an active card that's going together. And then this hermit, look how gorgeous this hermit card is with this koala, and the words are contemplation and wisdom. But for me, rather than like that kind of like gentle contemplation, it's been much more about boom, renewal, enlightenment. Also this kind of like peacocking, like allowing myself to be more seen, you know, which is, like I said, is why I'm making these kind of more vulnerable videos here as well. So I am going to write that up. I won't do that now while you're here because that would be boring for you, but I'll probably take photographs of the cards and stick them in, and I'll share them probably on my Instagram, which is at Jessica and the Moon, with full stops in between all the words. And I'll also probably share it over in the Discord as well if you want to do that. And I'd love to see, like, if you do this spread, then tag me and tag the Weaver's Way as well, because I know that she will love to see if you are also using this spread. And if you can make it tomorrow to our Beltane circle, then do come along. It's lovely, like community woven circle. So I'll share all the details for that, like I said, down below. Let me know as well what you think about this format of video. Is this too chaotic or did you like it? Yeah, let me know. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.